Changa to Changa.
Doc
Shotgun.
Author of a book called How to Build a People's Army. And I'm one of the directors of a film called Organizing is the New Cool, which is a piece that was put together that pretty much followed our journey as an organization as far as the FTP movement. And it's a film that'll be out actually at probably in the next 30 days or so. Also host a podcast called Renegade Culture. And feel kind of weird. This is probably I don't know how many Zoom pieces, but it's kind of a weird thing because of the fact I feel like I'm talking to a computer, talking to myself or something, but I guess it's gonna be all right. My joint today, which they asked me to speak on, is how to build a people's army. And right now, as we all know, we're in a crisis here in this criminal settler state. We know that democratic fascism is the order of the day. We're in a situation where we have brothers and sisters in a constant civil war through the social media, constantly arguing, complaining, fighting, in disagreement and disarray, just like our enemy wants us to be. So I'm hoping that today I can open a bit of clarity and understanding based off of my limited knowledge and information. I'm from a place called Bridgeport, Connecticut, and Bridgeport is 45 minutes away from the Bronx, Harlem area. Grew up in the hood, same crime, same TV, same propaganda, same bullshit. So I was how can I say this? I grew up in a way that I was so-called against movement and struggle because of the fact that my friends and folks I dealt with in the neighborhood, they weren't into what we was into. So it kind of was like, it's kind of a clash. So I kind of fought against doing the right thing, quote unquote. And when I say doing the right thing, I'm not talking about what the government is talking about. I'm talking about doing the right thing as far as the liberation of our people. So like I said, came up in the streets, came up in the projects. Pop said go right, I went left. He said go left, I went right. I was what we call the white sheep of the family. Somewhat unruly, disagreeable. So I learned things the hard way. Ended up at age 17 facing 36 years. Grew up in the 80s. So in the whole crack era, the birth of hip hop, all of that was on its way. I was trying to be in the streets. I knew what time it was, but when you don't have comrades, so to speak, that you can lean on, sometimes you kind of, go against the grain. So anyway, it took this prison stint, which ended up being nowhere near the 36 years, which I was grateful for, to pretty much give me my quote unquote Malcolm moment. And I say that loosely because of the fact that I'm by no means comparing myself to our great ancestor. I'm just, kind of put things in perspective. Okay, so after this southern prison stint, well, while I was in prison, I kind of used my prison time wisely, studied, researched, organized, got out, and hit the ground running. So began to organize, started a couple different organizations, was a part of some other organizations some of you may know me from. And then eventually around 2000, I started a hip hop group. And the hip hop group was for the sole purpose of building movement, building on with our liberation movement. Try not to say struggle because of the fact that I don't consider myself a part of the struggle. I think when we start off talking about we're in a struggle, we already placing ourselves in a deficit. So I say that I'm a part of the liberation movement. You may hear me throughout this piece talk about BLM because I'm a proud member of BLM. And when I say BLM, I'm not talking about Black Lives Matter. I'm talking about the Black Liberation Movement. So get that right. The Black Liberation Movement is the only thing that matters because our liberation is, it is our destiny. It is all we have. It's like my OGs say, all we got. So I grit my teeth, like I said, during before the whole formation of the hip hop group, I began to study with different groups. I studied with different elders and ancestors in the New York area. There's a spot called First World Alliance we would go to get our historical information. And then I would get my revolutionary information from family and comrades of my family. So I would learn about, the Black Panther Party, the Revolutionary Action Movement, the Black Liberation Army, Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, and so many other forces that put in work. And of course, the Honorable Marcus Mosaic Garvey, who we consider the great grandfather of our liberation movement. So the way we see it, we have Garvey, Malcolm, the Panther Party, and then along came the generation I'm a part of. I was born in 1970, so I came right after the whole 60s era, But again, I started this whole FTP hip hop group for the sole purpose of building a movement, because I knew that there were so many groups that came before. You had the Public Enemies and the X-Clans and the DPs and all of them. And I thought that they did excellent work. You had X-Clan, who had the whole Black Watch movement. I think DPs at that time, they were down with the Huru movement, and then later on the POCC, which I was also a part of. But I felt like we needed something that can strictly use hip hop as a tool. So needless to say, the whole hip hop group action, it didn't come out as planned. So we ended up trashing that. I moved to Atlanta in 2004. Before that, I was a part of Prisoners of Conscience Committee with Chairman Fred Hampton Jr. and so many other different brothers and sisters that was putting in work in that formation. Moved to Atlanta. We revitalized the whole FTP movement. And here we are 16 years later. I'm grateful. I'm grateful to be a part of our liberation movement because of the fact that oftentimes we take it for granted. We think that, that the movement should be honored that we're around, but we should be honored to be a part of the movement. You have so many different individuals who come in as narcissists and, egomaniacs and megalomaniacs, and they tell you that they are the king of this and the prince of this and all this other bullshit. You have a lot of posing, and we're gonna get into that. But as I stated, we're in a serious crisis at this point. We're fighting two pandemics. so to speak. We got the gangster pandemic known as COVID-19, and we have the pandemic, white supremacy, which we've been fighting against since we've encountered these people. Where are we today? Currently, you have folks jumping up and down, you know, talking about this whole electoral politic piece. You have folks talking about, you know, you have the first Black woman to be a Democratic nominee or nominee for a vice presidential part for a major party as a vice presidential candidate. We have brothers and sisters losing their minds. They're like, look, you know, anything is better than Trump. For those of you who follow me on social media, I gave an analogy a few days ago. I said basically the mice in Tinseltown, you know, they've been struggling and things have been crazy for the last 4 years. And they had this fat cat. This cat, it's been terrorizing, murdering the other mice, torturing the other mice, ripping the mice to shreds. And the mice are like, look, we got to get rid of this cat. We got this orange fat tabby, Garfield. And he's giving us hell. So we need to replace this cat. And they said anything is better than this cat. So they look to the side and they say, look, this old rusty mousetrap, you know, it's been inactive. You know, we know that this old rusty mousetrap has murdered a lot of mice. We know that this old rusty mousetrap has tortured a lot of mice in the past, but he hasn't killed anybody in a long time. So perhaps the old rusty mousetrap has changed its ways. It's cool now. It's no problem. Besides, anything's better than this fat orange tabby. Anything's better than Garfield. So as time goes by and the mice are complaining, months go by, the old rusty mousetrap is just sitting there. And all of a sudden the mice come up one day and it's a nice big piece of Gouda cheese sitting on top of that mousetrap. The mice are excited because they see this cheese. And all the mice want to take a nibble. They can't wait to take a nibble. The moral of the story is that the old rusty mousetrap always looks more appealing when it has a piece of cheese on it. That piece of cheese is known as Kamala Harris. Now, our people are so mixed up and confused. They're like, well, look, you know, what we gonna do? We got to choose one. You know, you want the cat to stay in office. You want the fat cat to stay in office. He gonna keep torturing us. He gonna keep building walls, talking shit. You know, he's a racist. He's a fascist. Or do you want to give these other criminals, Kamala and Joe Biden, who has a track record worse than the fat cat? Believe it or not. He has a track record worse as far as they have track records worse as far as jailing and keeping folks on death row and withholding evidence and, you know, and torture. It's people that have been serving time since they got into politics and they're still serving time. And these are two individuals who had numerous opportunities to help get these individuals on the right side of history. Now, again, I said we have two pandemics. You have the whole vote thing, and you have this whole COVID-19 thing. And again, folks bugging out. They're arguing about whether you should wear a mask or, you know, whether it's man-made, or they heard some doctor say that, you know, they can flip it and you can, you know, you won't have to have the disease and all that. So we get caught up in the sidetracking of the slave. We get caught up in arguing over bullshit. Part of my language, for those who have sensitive ears, I do curse, and I curse sometimes because of the fact that I feel like, you know, it adds an emphasis to what it is I'm saying. It emphasizes. We're in a situation where white supremacy is at an all-time high. Unfortunately, the unfortunate thing about the matter is that we have brothers and sisters who think that we can either A, vote our way out of it, or B, front our way out of it. I live in Atlanta, Georgia, and over the past several months, we've seen all kinds of craziness pop up. I know some people, when you talk about Atlanta, they're like, oh yeah, well, there's no structure in Atlanta. There's no structure anywhere in the Black community. In fact, most Black folks don't know what a community is. It's only so many of us that really understand the true power of community. But you have folks who think that they can front their way out of this shit. We had a situation a few months ago where there were actual actors in the street, real live actors and models out there posing, looking like they were part of the Panther Party. Posing, fronting, acting like they was about that life. Then their card got pulled and he realized, okay, these individuals right here, they're actors. They have acting pages. A few months later, you had some folks that decided that they were gonna gather their arms and they were gonna go to Stone Mountain out here, which many folks call Clan Mountain in Stone Mountain, Georgia. And they decided that they were gonna go up there on quote unquote Independence Day. They were gonna go up there on the 4th of July and they were gonna say, listen, yeah, we're gonna go head to head with these white folks. We're gonna go up to this mountain and we're gonna march. And the media was out there. And folks was taking pictures. And Africans all around the country, all around the world, it's like, man, these folks are the real deal. These folks about their life. But it was bullshit, it was fluff. The individual who's supposed to have been the lead person in charge, you do a lightweight research of who he is. A couple months ago, he was a quarantine DJ. A couple months ago, he was trying to be a grandmaster DJ. And now all of a sudden, he's a revolutionary, a freedom fighter. And we allow things like that to go unchecked. Why? Because of the fact that, unfortunately, anything looks better than what we have right now. So we hoping and we praying that someone comes along and someone saves us. We're looking for this Black Messiah. We're looking for some group of Black folks that's going to gather arms and they're going to take it to the streets. And they're going to do the things that we don't want to do. But I got news for you here today. If you're serious about our liberation, you must know that we're going to have to do more than hope this thing away. We're going to have to do more than pray this thing away. We're going to have to do more than vote this thing away. No one's going to save us. No one's going to save us but us. But some of these individuals who stand up in front of crowds and they make noise and they sell these wolf tickets, we have to be able to put them in check. We have to say, look, man, no more of this. We have to say, we're not going to allow you to be a clown show. We're not going to allow you to make us look like a clown show. Now, in these days and times, we should question actions. We should question actions. If it looked like a cop and it sounded like a cop, then chances are it's a cop. Now, am I saying those individuals were police? No, but I'm sure there was some in the ranks. Because there's no accountability, there's no structure, nothing. These same clowns go to Kentucky, shoot their damn selves. but they're talking about going up against some type of militias. I live in the state of Georgia. Folks forget that Atlanta is in Georgia, one of the most racist states in America. One of the most racist states in America. It's the state that they murdered Troy Davis, an innocent man on death row. This is the state where they hunted Ahmaud Arbery down February 23rd of this year, ran him down and shot him on camera in front of the world so you can see. This is a straight state where they lynch folks, the state where they murdered 92-year-old Katherine Johnston in the city of Atlanta with a black mayor and a black police chief. They murdered a 92-year-old woman and planted drugs in their basement. Said she was a drug dealer. Handcuffed her as she lay leaking. This is where we are. I live in a state where our governor name is Kemp. Kemp made national news because of the fact that he got a bus and said he was rounding up all the illegals when he was running for governor. He got a shotgun and a pickup truck, and his commercials was like, we're rounding up all the illegals and we're taking them to the border. This is what the governor of the state of Georgia, the same governor who was suing the mayor of Atlanta. The governor is suing the mayor of Atlanta because of the fact that the mayor decided to tell people to quarantine. And he's like, F that, you know, we gotta get this money going. We gotta keep this economy going. So I live in a racist state in a racist country. And I'm clear about what it takes for our liberation. Now, the first thing, contrary to popular belief, the first thing is not just a physical altercation. The first thing is we have to have a political education. We have to be clear about who the enemy is, who we fighting, what we fighting for. Because sometimes some of us get caught up in emotionalism and sensationalism, and we just talking about the white man, the devil. I did an interview a while back, and this white journalist asked me, said, do you believe the white man's the devil? I said, no. He said, oh, okay. I said, the devil ain't got nothing on the white man. The devil can't compete with the white man. The white man is the most wicked motherfucker on the planet. However, we have to be clear with white supremacy. It ain't just a shade of white. You got Negroes who will fight to maintain order. They will maintain the status quo by any means. That's what neocolonialism is about. We live under a state of democratic fascism because of the fact that we actually think we have the illusion of inclusion. We actually believe that we have a choice here. Right now, we have a choice of two races, a choice of two rapists. And we jumping up and down talking about, well, you know, we gotta support this sister, you know what I'm saying? We can't let let these white folks just say whatever. Listen, man, Malcolm said, you don't call a man brother till he operates like a brother. H. Rap Brown said, to be black is necessary, but it ain't sufficient. It's not a coincidence that Kamala Harris, that her legacy is not the same as yours. It's not they weren't born, they didn't go through this slave trade here in America. They weren't broken by the same system. It's no coincidence that her and Obama both come from a mixed situation. And I'm not tripping on all that because I get people talking about, you know, she ain't black and all this type shit. Listen, William O'Neill's black. You know what I'm saying? So black don't mean the motherfucking thing these days. Part of my English. That sound cool. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I live in Atlanta, Georgia, where the slaves run the plantation. You know? So we're not impressed about you know, how black you are and all that type stuff. You know, Mobutu was black. He's blacker than a mother. You know what I mean? So again, we don't get caught up in black faces in high places. We have to be clear with what it is we're dealing with. Now, seeing that we're living under a state of fascism, seeing that we're living under a police state, no fascist dictator has ever given up the throne without a fight. So don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if these white boys snap out and there ain't no November election. Don't be surprised, because some of y'all, that's all you got. That's all you banking on. If I don't vote for, you won't vote for Kamala Harris. Joe Biden told your ass 2 months ago, if you don't vote for Joe, you ain't black. Last week he was talking shit. He said the Latinos have more culture than black. They got more diversity, so on and so forth. And finally his handlers told him, he said, look, you need to pick one of these Negroes real quick and shut your damn mouth before you lose this thing altogether. So he said, I'm gonna go get, let me go get Kamala the cop, because I know that we're in the same page. We're on the same page. We both talking about incarceration, mass incarceration. We both talk about enslavement. But black folks got excited. Like, oh man, she went to Howard. Okay. Oh man, she was you know, she was a part of my sorority. She my soror. You know, I mean, this is where we are today. This is where we are today. And this is where we were yesterday. But the difference is right now, we still looking for trinkets and approval. I mean, how insane of a people are we that we even entertaining the thought of choosing which master we want to whoop our ass? How insane of a people are we that we really trying to decide? And the motherfucker tell you the lesser of two evils, as if one evil is not evil. I was thinking yesterday, because every now and then I sit back and I contemplate and I just think about how life is for real. And I thought about the fact that we've lived on this planet for the amount of time we have, and they've been giving us hell the whole time. The whole time. And we've adapted to the situation. We like, look, you know, we like roaches. We can transform. We can, you know, we can dance if they say dance. What gives these individuals the right to hold domain over you? I really don't think, I think that we've been used to so much fashionable militancy and empty rhetoric that we forgot really what's going on. The fact that there's even a discussion around voting is totally insane. Because what you're saying is, I agree with this system. When you're talking about voting, you're saying, I agree with this system. And I have faith in this system. Because you're only going to do what you have faith in. A crackhead smoke crack because he got faith that it's going to get him high. An alcoholic drink alcohol because he has faith that it's going to get him drunk. A Negro votes because he's out of his goddamn mind. That's the only thing I can think of. I'm no genius now, you know, but so we're sitting here and we're saying we agree with the system. If anything, we should be talking about the abolition of this system as a whole. You want to talk to me about voting? Tell me when we're going to vote to change this whole goddamn system. Because it don't matter who's in office. It don't matter who's in office. We talked about this years ago. I see my brother Marcus Klein. What up? If Marcus was running for president, He rocked Freedom Home Academy, Frontline Magazine. We with all that. But if he running for president of the United States, then we already know the shit is over because of the fact that he has to go along with the script. All that, I'm African and, Black power and, my students just learned this today. None of that shit matters. None of it matters. Because at the end of the day, you could be a master chef. You now won all the top chef shows in the world. But when you take your ass to McDonald's and you get a job with McDonald's, you ain't putting no mushrooms on the Big Macs. You ain't sauteing the fries. If the temperature says that you cooking these fries at 350, I know you learned in your culinary art school that you can just, throw a little bit of this on it and throw a little bit of that and lighten the heat. It don't go like that. And that's how it is with this government. So the moment we stop and we think about exactly where we are psychologically, because that's where they really got us jacked up. But you already know that. You know what I'm saying? If you're on this Zoom right now, you know what I'm saying? I'm not telling you anything new, but sometimes we need a reminder. We need a reminder of the basics because we go so far out on the moon. We talking about space shuttles and spaceships and the motherships and all that shit. And we forget about the slave ship. We forgot about how the hell we got here. We get caught up in the personalities over the policies. We get caught up in the personality over the politics. And when I'm talking about politics, I'm not talking about electoral politics. I'm talking about the politics of liberation. Again, we living in a police state. We have the youth out in the streets. And many of the youth talking about, it's our time. It's cool with me, I ain't got no problem with that. But before you can hit the streets, that education is important. You just can't roll off of emotionalism and sensationalism. You can't just walk around looking tough. That don't work no more. Never has and never will. Where are we gonna take it from here? How do we build a people's army? How do we organize? How do we win? We're not gonna win having no debates. I'll tell you that right now. We're not gonna win having no debates. I remember for a season, everybody was debating. It was debate central. This one versus that one versus this one. Half of them you can't find right now because it was entertainment. We have to move beyond entertainment. And even if you're going to be a part of some type of inspirational situation, then it has to be laced with that revolutionary message, with that revolutionary fervor. Now, a lot of folks run around calling themselves revolutionaries for years. I would never use that word because of the fact that I always thought that calling yourself revolutionary was an arrogant word, arrogant term. And I'm only saying that because of the fact that I know there's so many brothers and sisters that put in true soldier work. So many brothers and sisters that set it off, that was out there, that fought tooth and nail. So I would never say I was a revolutionary. In fact, I use all kinds of terms. I'm an organizer, I'm a this, I'm a that. Now I say I'm a revolutionary. Because I know how far I'm willing to go. And for my ancestors and for my future, I'm willing to go. And you have to feel the same. No longer can we be impressed by empty rhetoric. No longer can we just sit back and talk about how many pyramids, we built. We ain't build shit. We ain't build no pyramids. Our ancestors might have built some pyramids, but you ain't build a damn thing. Some of us are so lazy here today and so cowardice that we would still be in chains if it was left up to us. Or we're so egotistical that if such and such has the ability to get us free, we'll ignore her because she ain't one of the cool kids. Again, it's a form of psychological damage. We've been beaten to submission. We've been broken, totally dismantled. We've been disarmed mentally, physically, and spiritually. It's a lot of great brothers and sisters that I see that are presenting on these this forum this weekend. It's real strong brothers and sisters, and I'm absolutely grateful to be a part of it because of the fact that anytime you have the opportunity to share or express yourself, I think it's a blessing. I grew up in an era where you didn't just get put on because of the fact that you had a bunch of Twitter followers. I come from an era where you ain't get put on because of the fact that you got a bunch of Instagram likes and such and such or so and so. That's not the era I come from. I come from an era where you had to prove yourself. So much so that I remember the first time I was ever asked to stand in front of an audience as a nationalist. They were calling my name and I was looking around like, who they talking to? Because I didn't think I was worthy to stand up in front of my people. I didn't think I was worthy because of the fact that there's so many other great brothers and sisters. See, the thing what we have to realize is that we all have an ego, every last one of us. But either your ego deals with you or you deal with your ego. Your ego checks you or you check your ego. That's the reality of it. We have to have an undying love for each other. We have to get to a place, we got to get to a space where it's not about how you feel about a person personally. You don't like the way they walk, you don't like the way they talk, you don't like the way they dress, you don't like the fact that they don't have an African name. We got to move beyond that. We got to move beyond that. I see so many of our brothers and sisters talking about, they going back to Africa because we gotta take Africa back. I mean, that sounds real good. I mean, that's dope. But if you can't control the block you live on, then I don't believe that you're gonna go do shit in Africa. That's just my opinion. If cats are sitting up on your stoop, selling dope, if they disrespecting the women in your neighborhood, and you sit back like you didn't hear it or you don't see it, then you damn sure don't want to go to Africa. So we have to begin to have an undying love for our people. Right now, we get caught up in all the bullshit. We want to know, who got a weave and who got this and, all that shit sound cool. But on the battlefield, I don't think you're checking for that. I don't think you're checking to see what color eyelashes somebody got on or whatever the hell. Right now, many of us have babies. We have grandchildren, the whole nine. My oldest grand will be 13 in a couple weeks. I have a teenage grandson. So I don't have time to be playing around. So my passion, my zeal, my drive, my stamina, everything is about our liberation. I don't get it twisted. None of us are perfect. My grandmother told me a long time ago, she said, they make pencils with erasers because people make mistakes. And I know damn well I made plenty of mistakes. But I'm cool with it. I can live with myself. But ultimately, we have to come to that fork in the road, and we have to decide what side of the barricades we're going to be on. Again, I looked at the roster, and I seen so many people I respect on the roster. Some of them is my first time having the opportunity to hear them speak. I knew them personally. Brother Oba, I see you, brother. You know, so many brothers and sisters that I know, that I've seen just in passing. And I'm happy to be in the audience. Because I know that oftentimes the people that have an analysis don't often get the opportunity to be heard. One thing I learned about our movement is that usually the most popular amongst us, they usually don't have too much more than popularity. We have to move beyond that. Are we not tired of being duped? Are we not tired of being disrespected? Folks who trade on us, we have to treat them like traitors. And if you don't deal with those who play the role of the collaborator with your enemy as a traitor, you're a strange kind of man. You can't have a cat talking about he collecting millions of dollars off of strict sheer gain, and still begging you for more money. I mean, man, listen, man. I know people that make a way out of no way. I've witnessed many of you make a way out of no way. Kwame Ture, formerly Stokely Carmichael, he said, we're going to win in spite of ourselves. And I believe him. We're going to win. But in order to win, there used to be a commercial back in the day in the New York area, and it was a lotto commercial, and they said you have to be in it to win it. You got to be in this movement. You got to be in revolution to win it. You can't be on the sideline. You can't be talking shit on the sideline about who ain't doing nothing. I had a clown call me a house Negro on Facebook yesterday. Out of all the things you call me, the man called me a house Negro. I mean, in the mortal words of my country uncle, I started to put, man, you tickle me. It's like out of all the shit you called me, you call me anything in the world, but a house Negro. In fact, I didn't even get mad. The brother had a picture of Malcolm as his profile picture, and he was talking about how Lincoln freed the slaves. So with me, I'm not interested in stabbing somebody that already got shot. You know what I'm saying? This man's already leaking. What's the purpose? At the end of the day, what is our ultimate goal? Ultimate goal should be liberation. Che Guevara said, revolution is an act of love. It's an act of love. And that's why we're here. That's why after 100 years, Garvey having that convention and giving us that red, black, and green flag or whatever. After 100 years, we still here. We still fighting. Man, salute to y'all. I'm looking at this piece right now, and I'm seeing this whole conference should be rammed. This conference should be rammed, jam-packed. Jam-packed. This should be the convo of the day. Folks should have been talking about this like when they was talking about Will and Jada. They should have been talking about this when they was talking about WAP. We talking about Cardi B and whatever this broad name is, Megan Thee Stallion. You know what I'm saying? They should be talking about this conference like that. But instead, we arguing about, man, you know, I can't deal with 4 more years of Trump. I love the fact that Trump is in office because he's a constant reminder of what white America is all about. Because you'll get fooled, you'll get duped, you'll get a black president, you know, with that smoke cigarettes and play basketball and hang out with rappers, you know what I'm saying, with a beautiful black wife and beautiful black daughters, and you'll be confused. They had us talking about post-racial America. And right after that, they do Trump upside your head. So I'm happy that there's a Trump, because of the fact that if there was no Trump, then there wouldn't have been any uprisings in the streets. Now, I don't necessarily agree with all the tactics because of the fact that I looked at that particular uprising and I saw too many Europeans that were running things. There's never been a situation in our liberation, in the black liberation movement, that we allowed white folks to lead our struggle. It's never been that situation. And we've always had quote unquote white allies, from the John Browns to the Maryland Bucks. And some of them was damn solid. Some of them was very solid. But we have to be in charge of our own destiny. We have to be in charge of destiny. We no longer have any excuses. We have black schools everywhere we turn. African liberation schools everywhere we turn. You don't have to invest in no mystery school. It's plenty of schools out there. You got Ackerman Institute in Atlanta with the Rudies. You got Freedom Home Academy with my brother Marcus, who I've been organizing with for over 20 years. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to join the military anymore to learn how to fight. You got the African Martial Arts Institute. You got my brother Balogun Ojatade and so many other brothers and sisters that's putting in work. We no longer have any excuse. Back in the day, Dr. Clark used to say, we don't have our own toilet paper. Now we got Freedom toilet paper. Everything we need is at our disposal. We have all the black think tanks we need. We have all the black economic systems we need. But it's about putting the right people in the right place. The one thing I learned about being an organizer, one of my biggest mistakes I made earlier in organizing was putting people in the wrong place. Sometimes we want to fill positions. Sometimes we want to just say, look, we need somebody to hold this particular position. And that's not how it goes. If the individual's heart and soul and spirit's not into it, then you're in grave danger. You'd be in grave danger. I'm an optimist. I'm very optimistic about our people. Very optimistic about our people. I believe that as African people, we're the greatest people on the planet. And I'm not just saying that because I need to suit myself up. In fact, I don't believe that shit. I know that we're the greatest people on the planet. I know that with a surety when we're putting our best foot forward. We have to plant these seeds. We have to plant these seeds in our children's mind, and we got to plant these seeds in the ground. Agriculture. We have to grow own foods. We're in a trying time right now. We have to fight for our survival in more ways than one. We have to get up on this urban survival preparedness. It's necessary because not if shit hit the fan, when it hits the fan. It's going to be a game changer. Folks talk about 2020 like it's been some type of bad omen or something. But 2020 was so necessary. All that we've gone through this so far because of the fact that all the things we talked about, all the things we prepared for, many of us sit around talking about we didn't expect, but we never saw. We thought we'd see certain things in our lifetime. So it was necessary. The quote unquote pandemic, necessary. Uprisings, necessary. Trump, necessary. Kamala coming with the soup game, Joe Biden coming with the A fake, all necessary. I'm watching people. I'm sitting back, and instead of being a bird watcher, I'm being a people watcher. I'm sitting back, and I'm just saying, what stopped some of these folks got to get off on. I feel like this revolution is a train. And at certain stops, we got to let certain people go. Some of us going to ride out all the way to the end. Some folks be like, oh, I guess this is where you get off. Why is that? Is it because we don't love them? No, it's because self-preservation is the first law. It's the fact that we want to preserve our families, we want to preserve our comrades, we want to preserve our very lives and our future. So we have to watch some folks get off at certain stops. And it's painful sometimes. It's just like when you might see a family member who's sick or who's an elder, and you know in your spirit when you all are about to depart, that it's probably the last time you'll see that individual again. And you have this hurt feeling because of the fact that you grew accustomed to that family member. You grew accustomed to that loved one. And you know that it's like, damn, this is it right here. That's how it is in this movement. Sometimes we got to look at it and we got to say, this is it. It's over now. You know what I'm saying? But we got to keep on moving, though. We got to keep on moving. Again, we're going to win. We're going to win because we have these babies. We have these beautiful babies, and they know better than we do. My grandmother used to say the babies will get weaker and wiser. So my grandmother used to say, she's born in the early 30s. She said the young folks are getting weaker and wiser. Now I pray some of us end up on the strong side of things, but I understand what she means because of the fact that with technology, we've gotten much weaker as a people. Because you don't have to put in no work. You can just put up a Facebook post and you good. You know, what are we going to do? Where do we go from here? Again, we're talking about our liberation. We're talking about advancing our people's struggle. And the way we're going to do that, not by some empty slogan saying that we just need to unite. We're going to show and prove. I'm a part of a formation called the Siafu Movement, or the People's Army. And we have 9 different organizations that are part of this particular piece. It's a beautiful thing. We have the African Martial Arts Institute. We have the FTP Movement, Community Movement Builders, which is our nonprofit. We have the Siafu Youth Corps, Mama's Army, National Coalition of Combat Police Terrorism, Urban Survival Preparedness Institute, Freedom Home Academy. We have a number of different formations that have come together because of the fact that we understand the concept of a village. We understand the concept of an extended family. And I want to invite all of you that's checking us out right now to get down to the program. You might already have a formation, and that's okay. We're not trying to say we're going to take over what you're talking about. This ain't a ego stroke. This ain't let's prove who the baddest. That ain't this type of thing. We are at war. We keep talking about we at war. In fact, we're not at war. We're in a war, but we're not involved in that war. We are victims. We're casualties in the war. We're being slaughtered. We're being massacred. And all we can return with is empty slogans. Hands up, don't shoot. I can't breathe. I saw a couple the other day in Atlanta, and they were a beautiful couple. And I looked at them, and the husband and wife, they both had shirts on that said, I can't breathe. And then they had a mask on that said, I can't breathe. And I thought about it, I'm like, they look crazy as hell. You got a mask on that says, I can't breathe. Logically, someone that didn't know what was going on would probably be like, well, take the damn mask off so you can breathe. But this is where we are. We're caught up in sloganeering. We're caught up talking about Black Lives Matter. That sounds good, but Black lives have never mattered. It's never mattered. So we're calling for a united front, this united front against fascism, a united front against white supremacy and tyranny. Harriet Tubman said, we have nothing to lose but our chains. We've already lost our minds. We have nothing to lose but our chains. And again, I know we're going to win. I want to, out of respect for time, I want to allow you all, if you have any questions, to please send your questions out. And I'll try my best to, with my limited knowledge and information, I'll try my best to add on. So if you have any questions or whatever, please hit that chat box, and you know, we can take it from there. You can ask about whatever, because I know some of y'all, you know, certain questions you won't ask in person, but you don't mind on the tube or whatever, on the internet. So definitely any questions, please forward them. Brother Imhotep, what's happening, man?
Peace, my brother. How's
Salute.
it going?
Hey, man, I'm alive on arrival, man. Glad to see you, brother.
Oh, no doubt. I was tied up, but I had to get in here, man.
Man, listen, man, I'm happy to see you here. You got you, Oba, I think my sister Taj over there. Whole lot of folks, man. I'm happy to see, man. I ain't seen you in a while.
Yeah, no doubt. We gotta make some time.
Without question. Now you presenting tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay. Definitely. I'm gonna check you out. We're gonna make that happen.
All right.
Good to see you, man. Get a love to the family, to the Warriors, brother.
I will.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm glad to see. For folks who don't know this brother right here, this is an example of what we're talking about. We're talking about leadership, and we're talking about African brothers and sisters who are about that life. You know what I'm saying? And who are concerned with our well-being. That's what it's all about. You know what I'm saying? We're going to win because of the fact that study and that practice is here. You know, so I appreciate you, comrade, for stopping through.
No doubt.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So any questions, like I said, y'all can hit up the chat box. Sorry if I went all over the place. You know, I wanted to have an off the cuff, you know what I mean? Because of the fact that, you know, oftentimes we get so used to being preached at. I just want to remind us, that's all. We already know what time it is. We already know what time it is.
I had a question, Baba.
Yes, ma'am. Who am I talking to?
My name is Nyanza. I'm in Philly, and I have some experience with political organizing and in a few different organizations. And I wanted to get your thoughts on, and you can speak about your organization in particular.
Cool.
Or
can you hold your? I'm sorry. Can you hold your question 1 second? Because I might have left the iron on. I want to make sure that's good, or I'm gonna be coming back on here in a second. Because I smell something. 1 second.
Hey, Baba Oba.
Hey, yeah, how are you?
I'm good. Peace. Good to see you here.
Yeah, good to be seen.
And the young warrior.
Yeah, and Nove's right here too.
Hey, Nove.
Hi.
Peace.
Okay.
My apology. I confused dinner with the iron being on, so I'm good.
Okay. No worries. Got to check that first.
Yes, ma'am.
So I was saying that you can either speak about your organization in particular or the way that you think organizations should be structured in general, right? But my question is just, do you think that there should be any qualifications in place in terms of who we allow to join? Other than obviously no kind of police affiliations, but other than that, what qualifications exist in your organization and what do you think should be in place? Like what should we be qualifying people with or requiring them to have or have done before they join these kinds of organizations?
Yeah, okay, that's an excellent question. With our organization, let me back it up a little bit. You don't just join. The first thing you do is you come out and you work. And after so much work, and after so much study, and after seeing you and vetting you, and we vet folks as we roll. You know what I mean? Best believe when you come around, as part of security is not just standing there looking like a brute or looking tough or whatever, or having the same color shirts on and all that type of stuff. Part of security is having an understanding of who it is that's in our surrounding, being able to read the energy, being able to read the spirit of the individuals that's around. So you don't just say, oh, look, I want to join such and such. Now there's certain things you can get down with certain programs, like we have community gardens. You come out there and help till the soil. You come out there and plant some of the seeds. We used to have feed the people programs. You come pass out some of the groceries, more or less. You know what I mean? So there's different things that you can do, but you can't, it's not about just coming along, joining, because oftentimes, that's the floodgate. That's the gate to allow provocateurs and agents in. Aside from that, when you are invited to join, you come with references. See, one thing that many of our folks don't realize is that all the time, me being in Atlanta, it's all kinds of folks come through here. Atlanta's like the home of counterinsurgency, right? So there's always going to be different folks just falling through and, oh, brother, we saw the video. Oh, brother, we heard this. And, I'm a soldier and I did this and all that. And that's cool. You know what I mean? But the first thing I'm asking is where you come from. You know what I mean? And pretty much the way we roll, I can call damn near anywhere in America, any major city, and we can get a reference check. You say you come from Maryland, there's a couple different folks we'll call in Maryland. I might ask you, do you know certain people? Just in convo, not to try to apply no pressure because of the fact that, hey, you might be new on the block. So we don't want to just push you out the car just because of the fact that you haven't established a track record. But you got to show us something. You know what I mean? One of the things, Imam Jamil Al-Amin, formerly H. Rap Brown, right? He's a political prisoner now. I don't know if you know about Imam Jamil at all. But one of the things he was asked, he said, man, are you concerned about the agents that come in the mosque and the masjid? He said, no, because of the fact that they're not going to get nothing. He said, either they're going to bump their head 5 times a day and drive themselves crazy, or they're going to get off from overhead. So there's layers and there's tiers to everything. Even if you are a part of an organization, you don't know what's going on over here because of the fact you're not privy to certain things. And one thing about the way we roll as well is we are big on our families knowing each other. So it's not just you coming along and, you talking a good game. Where your baby's at? You know what I'm saying? Where your wife, your husband, where somebody? You know what I'm saying? We feel like if you don't have no type of family, it's going to take you a while to become family with us. So does that kind of touch on does that answer what you was asking?
Yes, absolutely. And I'm glad to hear that, because I think that what we have to do is we have to avoid the same mistakes that have destroyed our organizations, both internally, and it's not just external. We definitely
Right.
got those external factors, but also internally. So we have to avoid the things that have led to the destruction and the downfall of our organizations in the past. And so yeah, I'm glad to hear that y'all are addressing that, you know, in your organizational structure, you have means in place where, you know, those kind of pitfalls can be avoided.
Yeah. Yeah. And I want to add too, one of the things that makes it easier is, you know, we have advisors, we have different elders, you know, and most of our elders, or what we call our OGs, and we say OGs, we're not talking about original gangsters, we're talking about original guerrillas. Most of our OGs, you know, they were victims of counterinsurgency. They came up during these different eras. So we have folks that are part of our immediate circle that have done 33 plus years. You know what I mean? So we learn from our own mistakes. It's not just a situation where we making it up as we go along. You know what I mean? We seek counsel. We say, elders for counsel, youth for war. You know, we respect the dead and we fight for the living. You know, so, you know, that's one of the beauties of it. We have people that we can see, you know, and we can say, look, they can drop it on us. Like, look, this is out of order. This ain't correct. And certain things, you know, we have to adjust and adapt to because of the fact that, you know, times have changed. You know, sometimes we get some folks that's just caught up on whatever the elders say is what happens. And that's not always the case because of the fact that we keep in mind that many of our elders went through different experiences. You know what I mean? I'll be 50 in December, you know, so I have my own set of experiences that I've gone through. I still seek counsel. You know, with our organization, it is a organization where we have quote unquote like a central committee. So just in case I bug out, no sweat, somebody there to check me. You know what I mean? One of our other brothers is on another forum right now, Balogun. You know, he's over the African Martial Arts Institute. We co-chair the Urban Survival Preparedness Institute, but none of us are above being checked. It's not no, well, a man tough, I don't want to make him mad. Nah, our families are involved in this. You know what I mean? So I can't have you doing dumb shit, pardon my English, that's going to jeopardize my freedom, my children's lives, any of that. You know what I mean? So, you know, it has to be some type of accountability. Appreciate your questions, sis.
I appreciate your answer. I do quite.
Yes. Any other questions, comments, hate mail? We good?
Nah, Brother Kalonji, it's always great seeing you, comrade. You know, I was saying a couple weeks ago, it's really a comment.
Yes.
Myself, Baba Imhotep, Brother Alias, Brother Umwali Africa, were all on the radio a couple weeks ago. And, you know, this has been a very special and unique Black August with the commemoration, 100-year commemoration of the African Liberation Flag. With everything that Black August is, it's a very, very special Black August. But we were saying it's just a mere fact of us connecting the dots now. You know, where we're working, in the areas in where we're working, you know, you being based in Atlanta, Baba Imhotep being based, you know, in Baltimore City, you know, I'm, you know, being based, you know, between Philly and the DMV area, you know, DC, Virginia area. It's just really about connecting the dots, man. You know, we're holding it down where we at. Yes. But sometimes we get caught up in this thing that we in this thing by ourselves, and we're not. Mm-hmm. You know, we're in because we're in the area in which we are. So it's just about connecting and bringing this thing together. You know what I mean? That's all that needs to be done right about now. You know, and it's important. So, you know, I just really wanted to say that. And I appreciate you, man, and have a lot of love and respect for you, comrade.
Nah, man, and likewise, man, you and your family. You know what I'm saying? And the beautiful baby right there, the warrior who I'm looking to see grow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the
Yes,
motivation.
that's right.
That's the motivation that
That's right.
you know, I turned 18 in prison, man, like I said, and you know, I was happy because I made it to 18. So my first task was to make it to 18. Then my second task was to make it to 21. Now I'm like, this final task is to watch these grandbabies grow to be, you know, warriors and take over and fight like they're supposed to. On the connecting the dot tip, we already got it because of the fact that all the brothers you just named, we already connected. All we have to do is plug it in now. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's just about us meeting a little more often and not letting the BS stop us. But I appreciate you though, comrade.
I appreciate you, you know.
No doubt. Got a question coming from the box. It says, do you ever, I think that's my sister Taj, if I'm not mistaken, says, do you ever feel like giving up, as in quitting, taking the lead on organizing? Is it tiresome work? Sorry, I don't have my glasses on. Okay, all right. So yeah, do I ever feel like quitting? Every damn day. I always feel like quitting. What you feel like and what you can do is two different things though. I'm obligated. You know, I don't have the luxury of quitting because of the fact that it's like they say when you sing too much. You know what I'm saying? I recognize that if our ancestors would have quit, then we might still be in the fields now. You know what I mean? So quitting is not an option. You know, it's absolutely not an option. It's tiresome. It's worrisome. I mean, folks that have known me for a while, you know, you get these rocks thrown at you, you get these jabs thrown at you, you get criticism, you know what I'm saying? But that just means that you in it. If you in this thing and you never get criticized, then you ain't really in it. You know what I mean? So yeah, you often feel like quitting, but man, you know, as I said in the beginning of this joint, man, listen, these motherfuckers owe us. And I came to collect. And that's all I know. So I didn't just come here to live on this planet all hunky-dory, to enjoy life and to walk around and say some slick shit, get on the microphone, get a couple applause and go sit down. I ain't here for that. Not at all. So it's gonna take blood, it's gonna take sweat, it's gonna take tears, but that's just what come with it. You know, that's what comes with war. You know, you can't, once you get in the battlefield, you can't just, oh man, I quit. The only way you quit is if you surrender. Either you surrender, die on the battlefield, or leave victorious. And I don't know, man, like the song go, I came too far to front. So that's me. Yeah. I ain't gonna quote Drake, but yeah, that part. But anyway, yeah. So definitely appreciate your question. Anybody else, any questions, comments? We got about 7 minutes. I was like, man, I ain't gonna make it on here no hour and a half, but obviously I done ran my mouth. So we here. We here. Any questions, comments, commentary? Brother Jalen just said I got 7 minutes left. Okay. Definitely appreciate you all coming on. We have a few websites I can leave you with.
Brother Kalonji, I have a question, and,
yes,
and this speaks to a very critical issue because it's something I'll be speaking on Sunday.
Okay.
Your best advice for us getting to our youth, in really trying to engage our youth, especially with all the distractions that's out here One of those big distractions is BLM, Black Lives Matter. You know, a lot of young people through emotionalism and sensationalism feel like they're doing work by getting involved with BLM. Black Lives Matter, as we know, has a lot of confusion within the organization. An organization ran by Yoruba, financed by Yorubas, fronted by Yorubas, and they got Black people trotting them out there, you know, with, you know, this whole, you know, LGBTQ agenda that they had. Mm-hmm. How do we get to them? How do we do a better job? How do we do more of an effective job in getting to them?
How do we get to them? Man, that's the $6 million question. I'm gonna have to borrow $1 million from Umar to figure it out. But yeah. How do we get to the youth? We have to be front and center, man. You know, the reality is, you know, again, you know, BLM to me is Black Liberation Movement. That's the only BLM I recognize. All that other stuff, it sounds good, you know what I mean? But political education is key. The unfortunate thing about where we are, we're in a situation where folks want to talk about gender. They want you to respect their gender. And I'm cool with that. I have no problem with it. It's like, what you eat don't make me use the bathroom. You know what I'm saying? But the criticism and everything goes with it. You know, so if you want equality, then when you out of line, you getting checked, and I don't give a fuck. Excuse me. I don't give a damn. I guess I'm trying to get a milder curse word. I don't care how that works. I don't care about your feelings because of the fact that this goes back, like I said, to our ancestors and to our future. Now, with the youth, there's a lot of confusion out there. And there's a lot of confusion because of the fact that we could say we dropped the ball to an extent because of the fact that if you're not out there to control the narrative, then someone else will. You know what I mean? We have to be on the scene. When it jump off, we got to be there. We got to have some young soldiers out there. The one thing that we started a youth corps called Siafu Youth Corps. And it was for youth between the ages of 9 and 17, right? And we have some others that are a little older. But we started this particular program because of the fact that we wanted to make stronger revolutionaries, stronger freedom fighters than us. If you're 9 years old, you coming in the game, by the time you're 17, you should be pretty damn sharp. But we have to organize these youth and get them out in the street, because we know that we're not going to want to be in the street. Right now, Brother Oba got stuff to do. You know what I mean? You don't have time to be in the street every day. But we have to train these youth that are up under us. You know what I mean? And it has to be their job. No longer can we expect the youth to just go on Facebook and find us. You know what I mean? The youth ain't gonna be like, oh, let me see if I can find Baba Imhotep. There must be somebody out there like him. You know what I'm saying? Let me go find somebody like Marcus Klein. If we don't have 100,000 Facebook followers, 100,000 YouTube followers or subscribers, if our joint ain't going viral, then we can forget about it. You know what I mean? But we're in a unique place because of the fact that, like you, or like me, I know that you come from elder leadership. You have direct lineage to movement and struggle. So it is your job and your duty to teach. You know what I mean? So we have to be creative with reaching the youth. One of the things that we're doing, I know I'm short on time, but one of the things we're doing is we're making music videos, we're making songs and films, and we gotta be able to meet them where they at. If we're not meeting them where they at, then it's gonna be a permanent disconnect. Anyway, I'm being told that my time is about up. If you all looking to contact, thepeoplesarmy.org is our website, thepeoplesarmy.org. We also have organizingistheNewCool.com. That's our film website. Our podcast, renegadeculture.org. It's kind of, we curse and crack jokes on there. So if you're sensitive, you don't really want to mess with that. And you can find me on Instagram at Who He Talking To. But I appreciate you all. My name is Kalonji Changa.
Yes,
I pray that we have a powerful rest of this workshop. Thank you all for listening and tuning in, those of you who were able to stomach me. And we're going to win in spite of ourselves. I love y'all, man. Stay African.
Thank you, man. A beat before the A.
A beat before the A, baby. We win it.
That's right.
Salute y'all. We got no choice.
No choice.
Buck front, yeah. Shot. Intro to O. Yeah. And my dude, that Timbuktu the Ave. For new, renew your passion, shun the condition. And not the who, what, when, where, and you are from. At last. Put the higher in hierarchy. Climber, painter, preacher, no crimer, reppin' Garvey, and all that's godly. Sorry, I can't relate, I'm warrior Masi. Zulu pull up on Fasi and catch a body. Enemies nearing far, declaring.